Hello, baby. We're back. This week, we're going to kick things off with a road trip to Dorset, which is about here. We'll be spending the next 2 days and 2 nights culturally appropriating ourselves into the Dorset way of life. If you're wondering what constitutes the Dorset way of life, it's basically doing things like riding donkeys, pottery painting, that sort of stuff. Both Hannah and I are quietly hoping with all this new Dorset-themed sensory information that we'll be stuffing in our kids' developing brains, we'll be perfectly poised to take advantage of an early bedtime, aka the holy grail of parenting. In those few short hours after the kids fall asleep, your eye twitch starts to fade and you start to feel human again. You start to feel like that person that you were before you became a yogurt-stained bitch slave. So that's the mission for this weekend, assimilate ourselves into the Dorset way of life while trying to burn out the kids so we can drink from the parenting holy grail. Enjoy the show.
Grayson's got chocolate round his mouth because when we're away we always do chocolate breakfast, don't we?
Yeah.
We are off to a castle this morning, which should be good fun.
We're going to Windy Castle.
Windy Castle?
Yeah.
Windy Castle?
Yeah.
We're going to Windy Castle. Windy Castle.
Our first stop today is somewhere called Corv Castle, or Windy Castle as the kids prefer to call it. The castle was one of about 500 that were built in the 11th century by that William the Conqueror chap.
Hello.
And this is what remains of the once formidable castle.
That's what it used to look like back in the day. It was beautiful. What are you divering about, Gray? What's the matter? That's how I feel whenever I try to draw a horse, to be honest.
What are you doing, mate? I'm going to keep making a bed, mate.
Okay, I'm going to be completely brutally honest with you about something. The main reason I want my boys to have a child of their own one day isn't because I want to continue the family legacy and all of that shit. It's because I want them to know something. I want them to know what it's like to have kids.
Ah, thank you.
Mummy, have it. Me have it. No.
Thank you so much.
Don't let him have it.
Do you want to smell it? It's very delicate. It's very delicate. Is there another one over there that he could have? Smell it. No, smell it.
I often imagine the conversation. Dad, how did you do this? How did you survive this? I'm so deeply sorry. Then as soon as I hear those words, I'll whisper in their ear, I'm never going to forgive you. Because yes, I'm that petty.
Right, give me that thing, give me that flower. Give me that flower now.
No, it's actually, Grayson, it's actually mine that you gave to me, so can I have it, please?
Me have it.
No, you've got those.
Can we just get rid of it? Everything is a drama.
You know, my mum told me that she wanted to throw me out of a window once. I remember being shocked and outraged at her confession, but now I'm a parent, I totally understand. And you people watching that don't have kids yet, I assure you, if you choose to do it, then there will come a time when you will also want to throw your children out of a window. Trust me.
Do you want a baked potato?
Yeah, wait, why? That was a random question. Do you want a baked potato? No, we're going to go to a cafe now. Fine, just shut up. Yes, you have lots.
After the kids decided to stop screaming in our faces over a dandelion, we all packed up and bid farewell to Corv Castle and headed to our next activity, pottery painting. Booyakasha.
We've come to Create at the Cove, which is basically a lovely little crafting shop where you can paint things, you can make things, and they've got a little cafe as well. So the boys have chosen to do some pottery painting. I think Stef and I are going to join as well. What are you going to paint, Stef?
I'm going to paint a coaster.
Ooh, I wonder if I should paint a coaster.
So Rufus is doing a snake, Grayson's doing a rhinoceros.
No, a rhino.
Yeah, they're called rhinoceroses, or rhinoceri, whatever. It looks like something you get out of like the 1994 Argos catalogue.
This is my fried egg coaster I've just made. Hannah's vase.
I'm going to put it in your office.
It's not going in my
On your
office.
desk.
Absolutely not. It's painful looking at it.
Next on the itinerary was some hang time with the donkey. None of us have spent much time with donkeys before, so this was a new experience for all of us.
There you go. Like so.
Chris, who runs Donkey Adventure, told us that people have come from all over the world to hang out with his 2 donkeys.
Do you like him?
Yeah.
Apparently, people love donkeys, and after a few minutes, we could see why. Donkeys are brilliant. For years, people have said that I remind them a bit of a donkey, and I can see why now. I must have that same kick-back, chilled-out donkey vibe about me.
So we've just arrived at our next activity, which is looking after donkeys and walking them.
Couple of miles along.
When I grow up, I'm going to own a donkey, just like this one.
You know, I used to think I was too much of a cool cat city slicker for this simple kick-back country way of life, but you know what? Perhaps I was wrong.
I never thought I'd enjoy just chilling out with a donkey. Grayson, how good was that?
Amazing.
Wasn't it? You loved riding that donkey, didn't you?
Today has taught me something. You don't need ginger shots from Pret, Uber coverage and trendy wine bars with ambiguous toilet sign names to have fun.
Teeth, wine.
You just need a pot, some paint, and a couple of friendly donkeys, and you can have all the fun in the world. If you ever find yourself in Dorset, there is one thing that you have to do, and that's check out one of the UK's most iconic landmarks that draws in thousands of visitors from all over the world each year. It's called the Jurassic Coast, and it's home to the famous beach known as Durdledore Beach. It features this iconic limestone arch that's been slowly eroded by time over tens of thousands of years.
Come on, Gray.
Come on, Gray.
And there are fossils everywhere. Apparently, we didn't manage to find any.
Oh, don't flick seaweed in my face. Mind you, you'd probably pay a lot of money for that at some fancy spa, wouldn't you? Seaweed flicking. No, don't whip me with seaweed. I'm not into it. Mind you, my skin does feel a bit plumper after that.
We spent several hours sitting under a rare February unspoilt blue sky, messing around on the beach, getting flicked by plastic-infused seaweed, failing at fossil hunting, all while I quietly thought to myself, maybe parenting isn't all that bad. Yeah, there are loads of shitty bits that make you wish you could just float off into a celestial vacuum and die, but there's also loads of amazing bits like today. Today was great. I love today.
I love today.
Yeah, it's been chilled, hasn't it?
I've really loved today. Today's one of those magical days.
We all headed back to Bath and everyone fell asleep around me in the car, and I realised something. Being a parent is bloody hard, but it's not always bloody hard. And when it's not bloody hard, it's one of the best things in the world. I wanted to start this new scene off with a beautiful Italian proverb, but sadly everything I found on Google was wine-themed, so it sounded a bit like the sort of thing you'd find on Karen's Facebook wall. So I decided against it. Instead, I'll tell you about 6 small villages buried deep inside the spectacular Dolomite mountain range of northern Italy. Collectively, these villages are known as Alta Badia, which is about here. I know what you're thinking, we're going to Italy. Well, sort of. Despite being governed by Italy, Alta Badia isn't technically considered part of Italy. I'll explain more about that later.
Cabin crew, prepare for landing, thank you.
We were kindly invited here by the Alta Badia Resort to stay for 3 nights in exchange for filming our trip and letting you know about this hidden gem. So to make it happen, we flew Grandma over from Ireland to look after the rats, then jumped on a plane from Gatwick to Innsbruck, hired a car from the airport and drove for a couple of hours to the resort. And this is what happened next.
Stef's doing the driving because the thought of that just terrifies me.
What, driving on the right?
Yeah, driving on the wrong side.
Yeah, I have to keep being like, drive on the right. I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Not the sort of thing you want to forget.
No, it's pretty not. We've just got to our first pit stop for our holiday. It is a hotel which is actually on the piste. So cool, look at this. Oh. So Stef is absolutely desperate to get out there and do a run straight away. So there's no sitting down, there's no lunch, which I'm a bit angry about, which you'll pay the ref for in about half an hour when I have range.
Couple of runs.
So we're gonna go do a couple of runs. But yeah.
You ready for this?
I'm so ready for this.
Probably about 15 years. I've been snowboarding now, maybe more. I have never once broken anything or fractured anything or injured myself badly. And it's all because of my tradition. I swear it, because I pay my respect to the mountain. A lot of you Michalaks veterans will know what I do before every run, and at the end of my last run, I have a little tradition, and that's just to simply give it a kiss. Look after me, mountain. Let's have an epic 2 days. God, I feel so happy right now. I'm ready. Hannah's being feisty because she's hungry. You excited, Hannah Max?
Yeah, I've got headphones in so I can't hear you very well.
Hannah can't hear me, so she's just saying yes to anything. I could probably exploit that.
You know, I'd say that snowboarding is my favourite thing to do in the world. And I know a few of you filthy animals out there will be thinking, hey Steph, what about the sexy time? Surely that's better. And you're right, it is, but at least snowboarding lasts a lot longer than 36 seconds, and I don't need to pretend Hannah's a man in order to enjoy it. You see, it's not just the adrenaline rush of snowboarding, it's everything, it's the whole package. It's the mountain air that fills your lungs with every breath, it's the vast, colossal landscapes that humble you like nothing else can, but most importantly, it's the purity of it all. There's a sort of unexplainable harmony that exists between you and the mountain. In a strange way, it feels maternal. Although this place that we're in now is governed by Italy, and they have the euro, they don't actually consider themselves to be Italian. They're their own ethnic group that speak their own language, which isn't anything like Italian. The language and the dialect they use is called Ladin, but they also speak multiple other languages, like they'll speak Italian and German and French and English. There's only about 40,000 native speakers of the language, but they're incredibly proud people, very proud of their culture, and they want to preserve it, which is quite nice. So they're all keen to use it as their first language. But I never knew that. I thought this was just all part of Italy. I didn't know there was this small kind of ethnic group that had their own language that we sort of they don't really consider themselves Italian, that are, sort of part of Italy, but not. It's it's really interesting to discover that about the place. Anyway, I'd like to know if there's any Ladin speakers that watch our videos. If there are, say something below in Ladin. I won't know what you're saying, but maybe I can use Google Translate to figure it out. That mirror in our bathroom makes me look like I have so many grey hairs on the top of my head. I'm going to have to start just remenning, I think, from now on. I won't be relatable anymore if I've got grey hair. Hannah's deliberating whether to come out or not. Hannah's what you call a fair weather skier, which is somebody who likes to ski when the conditions are perfect.
Nice,
the condition,
sunny,
nice and
stop for a nice big
yeah.
wine in the sun.
And the conditions today are not that great. I mean, it's quite cloudy. I don't mind it at all. Like, I'm happy to ski and whatever. But Hannah, she'd prefer that like really good clear visibility.
Like this. I don't like not being able to see.
Yeah, Hannah has like mild panic attacks up the mountain and stuff like that when she feels like a little bit out of control. She has like anxiety attacks and stuff like that, which I'm really bad at coping with. Like, I can't deal with it. I'm like, come on, get over it, let's go. And then it's not apparently. That's the worst thing you can say apparently. I'm like, chop chop, you can do this, I've seen you give birth, come on. I basically just have a list of all the worst things you could possibly say to somebody who's having an anxiety attack on the mountain, and I just shout them at her in her face really loudly.
Stefan has gone up to do some scary, hairy snowboarding this morning. I'm giving it a miss today because I had a bit of a mild panic attack yesterday on the slopes and just wasn't really feeling it this morning. It's really cloudy up there and you can't really see very much today, which is my least favourite type of skiing because I'm quite a nervous skier anyway. So I am just walking around the little town. I'm going to find somewhere to have some breakfast and read my book, and then I'll show you guys the place that we're staying in tonight because it's beautiful. Okay, so I've just got in, did a little food shop so that I can cook some lunch here and just chill out because I don't want to leave. This place is so beautiful. So I thought I would give you a quick tour of the amazing house before Steph and I mess it up with all our stuff. The bed is there, and then you get a view of the mountain when you wake up, and in here, this little door over here is an infrared sauna. And then upstairs, this is impressive. I walked up here and I was like, whoa. Your little kitchen over here, little dining area through here. You can actually see the woods on that side and the mountains on that side. A wood burner in the middle of the room, which I absolutely love. If we had a bigger house, I would love to do that. And it just looks really cozy. You can see the mountains. And then out here, we have got a little hot tub. I'm very excited about my alone time today. I never get to be alone or like be alone in such a luxurious place. So I think I made the right call not going out onto the mountain today, because in this type of weather, I just think I would be stressed and worried, and I'm just not good at skiing when there's low visibility and it's snowing. Like, I just find it not very enjoyable for me. So yeah, I am gonna chill out here for a little bit. Hair is up, swimming costume is on. I am going to try my very first infrared sauna.
When our kids get a new toy, I've noticed something that happens, this pattern sort of emerges, where the toy becomes their whole universe. It's as if that toy is the reason for their existence. They'll study it from every angle, and if you listen carefully enough, you can almost hear the synapses exploding like fireworks in their brains. But then, as they become familiar with that not-so-new toy anymore, it loses its luster and they stop caring about it, and it ends up in the toy box, and each day it just buries itself deeper and deeper. And I feel like that's something that we never really grow out of. I feel like when we fall in love with somebody, it's a bit like going through a black hole in a spaceship, and suddenly you're in this whole new universe, this enchanting universe, and you're so compelled by it that you just want to explore every angle. But with time, that slowly changes. You become familiar with all of the angles, and you become familiar with the fundamental laws and the boundaries of possibilities. And then apathy starts to set in, and you start to take it all for granted. And that's where things can get perilous. They say that taking things for granted is a bit like putting holes in a boat to check the strength of it. So that's why these trips away for parents or anyone in long-term relationships is so important to do, because it strips everything back. It takes you away from everything. It reminds you of not just who you are, but it reminds you of who the person that you're with is. And it reminds you, most importantly, to not take any of it for granted. Not just the person that you're with, but any of it. So yeah, I want to say a massive, great big thank you to Alta Badia for having us, because it was a really important trip for us and it really helped us in lots of ways. So thank you. And yeah, we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting this far. Goodbye.